There are three main ways to deal with the incoming energy that we are being bombarded by right now. And as I describe these three ways, you may identify yourself in one of these three, and you let me know in the comments below which one is it. Maybe it's a little bit of everything. Maybe it is specifically 1, 2, or 3. Now, normally in a video, I'm going to bring to you, this is what the incoming energies are doing. This is where we are. These are the ascension symptoms. This is how it's affecting our spiritual journey, etc., etc. But what I want to do today is I want to highlight for you the three ways that you're coping or not coping with the incoming energy, and it changes everything when you learn to navigate through the incoming energies with grace, with ease. Have you heard those people in the comment section? They say things like, "Oh, Gary, I am blissing out. I'm blissing, baby. This energy is everything I've waited for." And then almost directly beneath that, you'll see the next comment going, "What energy? I don't feel it. What is she talking about? I don't energy? You're supposed to feel things. I don't feel anything." And then you get kind of like these two very distinct, almost very dysfunctional ways of navigating through the incoming energy. The one is question mark. It's like blank. I don't get it. I don't feel anything. And that can land up with a little bit of a, I don't think I'm going to ascend. I don't think I'm going to make it, Gary, because I'm not getting anything, right? That's the first lot of people. Let's call them the disconnects. And I'm going to go into who the disconnects are and what the rationale is behind that and how they're going to get out of that. Number 2 is the overconnects. The overconnects. And these are the guys going, "I can't cope. I don't want to cope. I didn't ask for this. I didn't sign up for this." Yes, you did. But they're in this mindset that says, "This is horror. This is horrendous. Somebody get me out. It's all too much." And they tell me how exhausted they are. And they tell me they just can't carry on anymore. They tell me things like, "The ascension symptoms are ruining my life. I'm bedridden. I'm in pain." They're having a genuinely difficult journey. This is why I want to make today's video. This is why this video is so important. And if this isn't for you, please share it with somebody who you know might just benefit from this, because we all need to help each other navigate through these energies. Now, this is no longer about, okay, guys, there's another wave coming in. Brace yourself. There's another wave coming in. This is more like, okay, let's now link arms and learn to support each other. So the disconnects, the overconnects, and then we've got the third type of people, and I'm going to share with you at the end who the third group are. Let's talk about the first two, because these are the most common, right? And I almost get like, almost as if I'm looking at a cartoon, I get these two distinct faces. The one is a total blank. It's like, And then the other one is the overconnects. They're like, I can't stand it. It's just so intense. It's too much. And these guys, they'll spend a lot of time in deep trauma, and it's like they're just reenacting. They're not even healing at this stage. They're just reenacting, right? And every wave of energy that hits them, they feel like they're victims of ascension, essentially. The disconnect comes from the knee-jerk response. So now we're going to go into group number 1. The disconnect comes from the way that we were born to the false matrix, and that is they're severed at the crown chakra. It sounds very intense when I say severed at the crown, but that's exactly what we were. Severed at the crown chakra, so that all that was left was one strand, and that's all that there could be. One little strand of, think of it like a little cotton thread, which is very thin, this golden strand that connected us to source consciousness. But even that strand that we had available to us, we couldn't connect directly to source. That's why we couldn't connect also directly to our own soul, which is also why we didn't remember who we were before this life. When I talk to people about, and this confounds them so much, when I talk to people about our next life, they always say the same thing. "Oh, so will I remember who I was in this one?" And the answer is very much dependent on whether your next life is in 5D or 4D. If you go on to the 4D world, and I speak about this in a video which I will link for you in the description box below called The Two Worlds Split. If you go into the 4D world, you're going into an amnesiac cycle, meaning exactly like this life. You don't remember your name. Who was your lover? And I'm talking about you don't remember your name from your last life, although sometimes on a good day you don't remember your name in this life either. You don't remember your identity, your nationality, who was your lover, who was your mother, who was your brother. And people find this inconceivable when I say to them, those who are not part of the 5D ascension cycle, they're going to go into a new life on a new planet with a new identity. And the question is, oh, okay, so will my best friend recognize me? No. Oh, what about my mother, my brother? It's exactly what we're in right now. See, we identify so much with the persona that we're playing that we can't imagine that we could be anything else. That's what's locked away from us. That's the severing. The severing is where we only get to connect to the persona. That's why we find it so inconceivable that we could ever be anything other than the personality that we're playing and the star sign that we've identified with and the character traits that we're so familiar with now, where the truth is you are an omnipotent, infinite, cosmic being. As a soul, you are in direct connection to God. The severing leaves you in almost a limbo-like space. It leaves you in such a deep disconnect, which is why most of us are so confused and we're looking for meaning. And it's not meaning actually that we need, it's the reconnect. So to a degree, we're all very familiar with this disconnect. It's that feeling like, when you're looking at your life, for example, and life starts looking very much like a movie. And the thing is, you don't even feel like an actor in the movie. You're in the audience watching the movie and you're aware that everybody is actors. And you'll even say things like, everybody is the creator of their own script. You'll say things like that. You'll believe things like that, but you won't be able to apply it to you. To you, the disconnect is so big that it feels like you're in the audience at best, right? So it's a disconnect and it lends into a numbness as well. These are the people that go, what energy? I don't feel it. Now, there was a course that I did, a couple months back. The course was called Forever Starts Now. And in that course, we dealt a lot with the disconnects. I'll actually link that course for you in the description box below. We dealt a lot with that. And what I shared, and obviously it was a lot deeper than this. I'm just giving you the surface level here. What I shared was, it's not that we can't feel. A lot of people say that. They say, when we meditate, Carrie, I can't feel anything. And I say to them, it's not the truth. It's not that you can't feel. It's that you don't like what you feel. And we draw on the most familiar thing that we know, which is the disconnect. We draw on that. That's what keeps us in the illusion of feeling safe. So then you might say, okay, so I've actually got to what? Override the disconnect? The answer is reconnect. There's three, and I'm laughing now because I know exactly the online community that I love and share so much time with, the Plasma Light Tribe. You guys already know, right? The three pillar stones the three cornerstones rather, of enlightenment: presence, connection, and stillness. Those in disconnect need to learn to connect, but it's a process of learning to accept. Acceptance for them is a big one. Learning to accept where they are, who they are, how they are. Again, it's not that we can't feel, it's that we don't like what we feel, so then we shut off from it instead of realizing whatever I feel, however it is, whether it's prickly like a cactus or it's warm and tender and cozy, it is where I am right now. And it is a temporary moment, but it's mine to connect with. And when I connect to what is, then I can move beyond what is. See, we've got a lot of people saying, I want to go over there, Carrie. I want to go live my best life, Carrie. I want to be my highest version, Carrie. I want to heal. I want to do all of these things. Hell, I want to be a 5D being. I want to ascend. Okay. And there are so many people spending so much money and time investing in being out there instead of, and they kind of feel a little bit of a slap in the face when they might come to me and I'm saying to them, no, we're not going anywhere. No, we are not going anywhere. We're going to learn to be here because you cannot move on from where you are until you are where you are. And this is very difficult for people living in the disconnect. For them, it's like, and they only really realize how much they don't want to be where they are until they actually really get in there. That's when they want to really just almost be anywhere else. So I can see the light is changing and I'm probably going to move position. But let's see. I'll move on to point number 2 now. Point number 2 is the overconnects. And this, I would say, is more common even than the disconnect. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. We'll see who's more prolific, the ones or the twos. So this is number 2, the overconnects. The overconnects, you guys. These are the people who go, oh my God, it's so intense. My teeth are hurting. My limbs are shaking. My brain is quaking. I can't do it. It's just too much. It's like this barrage, this bombardment, and they get very locked into victimhood at its most extreme. Right? So I'm not saying everybody in this overconnect is going to land up in victimhood, but that's almost number 2 at its most extreme expression, is when people go like, I didn't ask for this and God hates me and that's why this is happening. I'm being punished and I want out and this is cruel and how could God let this happen and all of those things. So what the number 2s need is to understand that they're doing also what the false matrix trained us to do, which is what? Connect with the external world, not with the internal. Connect with what's happening out there. That was the program of the false matrix. Now, I've said this to you guys multiple times. The false matrix no longer exists, but it still does. Huh? How can it not? But it does. It doesn't exist in that it's no longer being broadcast to us from the external, from the galactic realm where it was being broadcast. That's all been taken down. But it still exists as the programs embedded into our cellular memory that we act from, that we are so blind to, so unconscious to. The program of the false matrix said, that external reality, that's your ruler, that's your master, and you're answerable to it. So those going into the overconnect are still carrying through a program. And it's not because they're bad, and it's not because they're wrong, and it's not because they're stupid, it's not because there's something totally fundamentally inept within them. It's not that at all. It is actually a very simple switch. It's a really simple switch. And I'm going to describe to you what that switch is. The switch is when you learn, okay, there's the storm. Right? So imagine the incoming energy like cosmic waves. And that's literally what they are. They are waves coming in from the cosmic realm. And then they filter into our atmosphere. And they're coming in through the cosmic realm because the false matrix broadcast signal is down. Now they're coming in. They're filtering in slowly at first and then quickly like they are now. So in the beginning, when we first tried to ignore them or even disengage from them, it was like, oh, okay, I can manage this. And now it's an onslaught. This was always going to happen. Please understand this. It is going to get more intense as well. I always hear people say, when is it going to let up? Huh? When is it going to abate? When is it going to be over? Well, it's not. We're going to learn to become 5D beings, and then we won't want it to be over. We're going to go, baby, this is home. This is my zone. This is where I belong. This is what I longed for. So what feels like punishment lands up becoming the ultimate prize if we understand how to navigate through it. So that's the storm coming in, and we have to understand, that's the storm around me. And it's unsettling all the density within me. It's unsettling all the density within humanity, not just within me, the human being. It's unsettling everybody's density. That's what happens as the light comes in. It purges out all the darkness. Those who are still locked into the experience of the external reality directing them, these are the guys in the overconnect, and these are the guys who are floundering. They're having a really tough time. So we need to rally together to support them the most. The answer here is you have to learn that you are not the external energy. You are the one experiencing the energy. You are not those waves. You will become those waves, by the way, because those waves are higher consciousness. But right now, oh, and by the way, when I say you will become those waves, you will become those cosmic waves. So those people who are over extending into the external reality, the overconnect, so to speak, what they're doing is they're reaching into the external and they're first hitting a layer of density, and they're getting so stuck in and consumed by, and they're so busy dealing with the density. They can't even feel when I say, oh, the light's coming in and it's making everything easier. They say, Carrie, what are you smoking? Not possible. Not my experience. Okay. It's because they're so caught up in that storm. When you're the eye of the storm, you have a sense of self. You have a connection, a grounded presence. Oh, there's that word, presence, connection, stillness. Those three are interlinked and part of the same overall energy called enlightenment. And they sound like three simple words, don't they? Presence, connection, stillness. You guys, these are three infinite exploratory realms that actually form one big universe that we're about to step into, that define the foundation of our ascension into 5D. When you have a sense of self, which, think about it, we didn't have. We were born with a missing sense of self, right? Severed at the crown. Where was the self? There was no self. It was all about that external. And when there was a self, it was the false self. So the true self. When I say connection to self, obviously, connection to the true self. When that's missing, we're all over. We're kind of like tumbleweed trying to latch onto anything, hoping to latch onto anything, because there is no grounded sense of self. When there is, because you've used presence, because you've used connection, maybe you've come and done a couple of weeks in the PLT, or you've done some courses with me, or you've learned in your way to ground, baby, ground into your true self, into your body, presence with self. Connection to the presence that you are, stillness inside that presence. It feels like you've got roots anchoring you deep into the core of the earth. And when that happens, you've got an ally, because the core of the earth is what you start breathing up, and it starts supporting you, and you start feeling the anchoring. And then all of that stuff, do you know what it does? All of that stuff, because now you're connected to you, not to it, it blows off. It blows off. It does what it's meant to do, which is it dissolves. The amount of people that are latching on to the dissolving density as if that's who they are. They're latching onto, I've got to heal this thing. I've got to work through this pain. You actually have to connect to the light that you are right now. And the deeper and the stronger and the more powerful you can be in that connection, the more you're going to experience yourself now in the third category. So you got the disconnects and you got the overconnects, and now you're going to get, I don't know, well, think of a name for them. You let me know in the comments, or maybe it'll come up as I'm talking. These are the middle way. These guys are the middle way. The middle way being, I'm neither the disconnect nor the overconnect. I am the stability. And these stabilizers, you guys, they are the ripple that's stabilizing ascension for those in category number 1 and those in category number 2, because those in 1 and 2, overconnects, disconnects, they are spinning out of control and they're having way too hard of a time. So I thank you if that's you, my light worker love. Even if you say to me, but Gary, I only do it for like 10 minutes every now and then because then I spin out of control. That's cool, that's cool, that's cool. Those 10 minutes mean everything and do everything. Every time you can become that stability, you are rocking ascension for the planet. But please note, having said that, you never do something for the planet, because if you do, you're a victim. Then you become one of those people that say, I've got to heal for the planet. I've already gone through everything I need to go through, but I've got to do all of this for all the people that can't do it because they're not capable. But I am. So that's obviously an ego trip, okay? Never go into the I'm doing this for the planet style thing. Instead, I'm doing this for me. But as a side effect of doing this for me, the planet gets to share in the stability for self that I'm creating and self-sourcing. The New Human. It's a course on my website. And in it, I ask you to imagine something called a central core column. And this has even come up, this idea of a central core column has even come up in a couple of YouTube videos where I've talked to you guys. I've also spoken to you about the rods of light. And I've explained what the rods of light are. There are these stabilizing beams of consciousness that come from the cosmos and they anchor deep down into the earth. And every light worker has normally multiple rods of light around them. And the rods of light, it's this exquisite symbiotic relationship. They are stabilized and stabilizing. They're stabilized by the cosmos because they're able to reach into that energy within them ourselves. This is imperative. When people say, but I want to be stabilized, okay, the irony of it all is that we are all stabilized, but we cannot access the stabilization of these rods of light. We cannot access it until we get the stabilization from within. That's where the central core column comes in. And if you want to, you can give yourself a sense right now. Come on, let's do this together. We're right here at the end of today's video. Remember to drop me a comment. I'm really curious to find out where you guys are. But before then, I want you to imagine this. I want you to imagine that you could anchor yourself into your heart. And I want you to feel a warmth in your heart as if there were a presence there. And if you need to, you put your hand directly on your heart. Put your hand directly over the center of your chest so that your hand is covering not just the heart muscle, but the whole area around the heart, because that's all your heart energy. And then feel where your hand touches your chest and feel that there's a little bit of, now we could call it an electric current. We could even just call it an exchange of body heat, because there is. As your hand touches your chest, there's an exchange of body heat. So you're going to feel a deeper connection to your heart, sink down into that warmth in your chest, in your heart. Don't you love this? We're not going out there, we're going in here. As in, you're connecting into your depth. Then from your heart, imagine that you can just breathe here for a moment or two or three. Just be here. Notice that my hand is not touching my chest, and that's just because that's comfortable for me right now. If you want your hand on your heart, do it. You're going to get very energetically sensitive eventually, where your hand can be here. In fact, your hand can be here. You'll still be able to feel this electric current. And right now I'm feeling it the most with my hand just slightly off my heart. So see where it is for you. If you're there, hand on heart, feeling body warmth, perfection. Now imagine that you can breathe in and out through your hand. Just imagine. And as you do, you're dropping down into the heart. Feels good, right? Heart-centered. Now imagine from your heart, imagine please that there's a root that drops down through the middle of your chest, down through the middle of your body, down through the middle of wherever you're sitting or lying right now. And you could be on the top floor of a skyscraper building. You imagine that root on the ground, hitting the soil, going deep, 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 deep down into the core. And you feel that root. You don't have to see it. You don't have to create the visual. The feeling is the most important thing. Feel that root dropping down, and then as if it's wrapping itself around the center of the earth's presence. That's the anchor point. And then you breathe up through that root. Breathe up the life force, the stabilizing from that root up into your body, up into your chest, and you'll feel it coming up. You can even allow it out through your arms, up through your head, up through the crown. Let it out of the crown. And that, by the way, is part of reestablishing that connection that was once severed. Now, from my heart, I know you can feel it now. I know you can, because now you're in there. From my heart all the way to yours. Please don't give up on yourself. You're allowed to say, but Carrie, it's difficult. But Carrie, I'm battling. But Carrie, I can't. You're allowed to say all of those things. Just keep going, right? I've shared this so many times with the Plasma Light Tribe. I've said to them, you cannot go to the gym one day and then you go, okay, I'm not super fit, ready for a marathon, super skinny. I'm not in the shape that I want to be in. So obviously it didn't work for me. You've got to go back to gym. You've got to keep, this is devotion, right? This is commitment to self. We say, oh, I want friends, or I want lovers, or I want people in my world that are committed to me. Okay, great. Set the foundation and you commit to you. So it's okay if you don't get it right now, or you don't get it as right as you want it to be. You came here to be part of that third group, my love. That group that is both stabilized and therefore stabilizing for others. You are the calm, right there in the center of the storm. And when you're that, the storm doesn't touch you. You're in this supreme stillness, and then you share the stillness. You ripple the stillness for others, to others. Speak to you really soon. Lots of love. Bye-bye for now.